everyone. Welcome to Studio Classroom on the Air. This is the place to come when you want to have some fun. My name is Rebecca, and I know that your English will improve today. So, are you the type of person that is into fashion and design? If so, you are going to love today's lesson. Today, our lesson will bring us to some places around the world that are celebrating Fashion Week. Today's lesson is called Fashion Week Spring-Summer 2020. Now, the first place that we'll visit in today's lesson is New York. The second stop is London. Well, friends, I hope you have your magazines. We'll make sure they're open to today's lesson, and it's time for us to get started. So, follow me.
Fashion Week, Spring-Summer 2020. Fashion is instant language. Miuccia Prada. If it's true that fashion is instant language, then New York City, NYC, will be full of lively conversation as it hosts Spring-Summer 2020's Fashion Week. NYC will be the first of 4 cities to play host, followed by London, Milan, and Paris. The 4 locations are all fashion giants in their own unique ways and have earned the coveted title of the Big Four in the fashion world. New York. New York Fashion Week, or NYFW, kicks off on September 5th and runs for approximately 8 days. NYFW is considered the most commercial and casual of the 4. It is also the only event to allow some fashion school students to participate, bringing a fresh look to the runway.
Well, I am ready for Fashion Week. I have my beautiful lei on, and I'm ready to see some beautiful fashion.
Really? In Hawaii? It looks like you're dressed for Fashion Week Hawaii, but our lesson starts with New York.
Well, come on, Gabe. What about you? You're wearing that gold mask. I'm not sure anyone would be wearing one of those in New York.
You're right, but it helps me get into the mood for discussing fashion because we're talking about Fashion Week, Spring-Summer 2020. But I'm just curious, we're still in 2019 and it's only September. Why is this Spring Fashion Week or Spring-Summer for 2020?
You make a very good point. Great question. That's because the clothes or, the different fashions that people will be wearing are for the spring and summer of 2020.
That's right. The big names, the big brands are setting the trends for what we might expect in next year's spring and summer. Okay, so we read a quote here. Fashion is instant language. Now, I've heard other things being referred to as language, like music. Music is a kind of language as well. But who said this quote? Miuccia Prada. And you might recognize that name, Prada. Miuccia Prada is a billionaire fashion businesswoman, the lead fashion designer for Prada.
Okay, well, let's get right into our lesson. If it's true that fashion is instant language, then New York City, NYC, will be full of lively conversation as it hosts Spring-Summer 2020's Fashion Week. Have you ever been to New York?
Yes, I have. My sister used to live in New York, so that was a great excuse to visit many years ago. But I do enjoy New York City. And we continue here. New York City will be the first of 4 cities to play host, followed by London, Milan, and Paris. So followed by, that means this will be first, and then afterwards will be London, and then Milan, and then Paris.
And we read, the 4 locations are all fashion giants in their own unique ways and have earned the coveted title of the Big Four in the fashion world. Now let's go back up and we're going to take a look at this word giant. Now, typically when someone talks about a giant, they talk about a person or something that's really, really, really big. But in our lesson, this refers to a very successful and powerful person or organization.
Right, and it's usually following some kind of noun. Okay, so the idea of fashion and then giant. So these are fashion giants. There are other giants in the world as well, different kinds of organizations. Media giants, for example, like CNN or Fox or the BBC or CCTV. Of course, some of you may only know of CCTV, those big media giants. But another example might be, Rebecca, how about this? Can you name a bicycle giant?
Oh, you're thinking about giant.
Exactly. Yeah, that's just kind of fun. Of course, there's Giant, Merida, Schwinn. Those are different bicycle giants, right? Or big brand names in the bicycle world.
That's right. But of course, we're talking about fashion giants. Well, our lesson brings us to New York. New York Fashion Week, or NYFW, kicks off on September 5th and runs for approximately 8 days. That's tomorrow.
Exactly. Okay, so NYFW is considered the most commercial and casual of the four. Okay, so it's not going to be too intense. It should be a little fun, right? It also is the only event to allow some fashion school students to participate, bringing a fresh look to the runway.
And I really like those two words, fresh look. This just means that they bring something new or different.
Right, and you can have a fresh look for doing different things. Maybe you got a nice new haircut, a different style for you. Your friend might tell you that's a fresh new look. Or maybe you remodeled your house in some way, redecorated the inside or rearranged some things so that you could have a fresh look and a fresh feel.
That's right. Well, right now it's time for us to learn something new in the Info Cloud.
Hello and welcome to InfoCloud. Today, I want to talk about an old saying and what it means when someone stands on the shoulders of giants.
This is an old saying that has been used in many contexts, but it has come to mean that people aren't solely responsible for their achievements.
In the world of science, it means discovering new things based on the work of great scientists of the past.
For example, what we understand about genes and the way they work is based off of the discovery of DNA.
Actually, that discovery involved different people over time. So current research into DNA is done on the shoulders or is building on the work of these giants.
If you think of the image of someone standing on someone else's shoulders, that person can see much further into the distance.
Exactly. And that is why this phrase has also come to mean that people aren't solely responsible for their great achievements.
Let's say that I'm really impressed with Joe's ability to coach people on ways to improve their public speaking.
Then I can say, I'm just standing on the shoulders of giants, because what I know came from working with my mentors in my speaking club.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Studio Classroom, where we are talking about Fashion Week. I hope you enjoy talking about fashion because fashion is an instant language. Now, we already learned that Fashion Week kicks off in New York tomorrow, actually, September 5th. Well, now it's time for us to talk about London. What does our lesson say about London? Let's find out now.
Fashion Week, Spring Summer 2020. London. London Fashion Week, LFW, comes on the heels of NYFW, starting on September 13th and running through September 17th. Once considered a minor player among the Big Four, LFW can now command a roster of big names as well as promising new designers. Over 250 designers will display their creations before international audiences, including influential people from the worlds of media and retail. London fashion houses have a reputation for being very experimental and open to new ideas.
Now, something that's very important to any fashion show is the runway. Now, we did mention that word earlier, and of course, on the runway, that's where you see the ladies walking down the runway wearing different fashion.
Yeah, wow, what is she wearing on her head? I wouldn't want to wear that on the runway. I might be afraid of tripping or falling. But that is a very interesting dress that she has. You see a lot of really interesting and unique things on the runway, for sure.
That's for sure. Well, anyway, let us go to London now. So we've talked about New York. Now let's talk about London. London Fashion Week. LFW comes on the heels of NYFW, starting on September 13th and running through September 17th.
Now, Rebecca, have you been to London?
It's a great question. I have not yet been to London, but maybe someday I will go.
Yeah, my sister lives in London now. A different sister.
Oh, really?
Actually, she lives in London. I really want to go visit because I've never been to London either. A great excuse to go visit is when your family is living somewhere, right?
And that's a great reason to go visit London. Well, perhaps you can go in September at some point in time, next September.
Yeah.
During Fashion Week.
That's right, for Fashion Week 2021. Well, we continue here. Once considered a minor player among the big four, that means not the most important player, right? Not the most important person. We read, LFW can now command a roster of big names as well as promising new designers. And we have a lot we want to talk about from that sentence.
That's right, starting with the word command. What does this word mean? This just means that you have control over someone or something, and there's responsibility involved.
That's right. So, for example, maybe there's an influential speaker that comes to your school, and he's really charismatic. Okay, that means that people really just love listening to him, and they're just excited to hear everything he has to say. You could say that speaker commanded the attention of everyone in the audience. Now, friends, there's a difference between the word command and demand. If someone demands your attention, that means they might say, you need to look at me right now. I demand your attention. But command is a little more subtle. They didn't say that you need to listen to them, but everything about them makes you want to listen to or watch them. They command your attention.
Exactly. And of course, we're talking about how LFW can now command a roster of big names. Here's another phrase that we want to talk about, and that is the phrase big names or big name. What does that mean? That just refers to a person who is famous in a particular area. So it could be a person or perhaps an organization.
That's right. Earlier I mentioned a few, right? Like the giant bicycle company. That's a big name in the biking world. Other big names, friends, I'm sure you could name a few as well. Nike, Apple, Google, Facebook, Huawei. Those are big names these days. And we could even talk about people like Rebecca said. Steph Curry is a big name in the basketball world.
That's right. Okay, so back to this fashion show. Over 250 designers will display their creations before international audiences, including influential people from the worlds of media and retail. And of course, a designer is just somebody who designs like the patterns for the different clothing that will be put on display at a fashion show.
That's right. So a lot of people are going to be attending these events, a lot of different clothing brands and companies, and they'll be taking notes, okay, on what is going to be in fashion next spring and next summer. We read here, London fashion houses have a reputation for being very experimental and open to new ideas. So we learned maybe a word to describe New York's Fashion Week is casual. Perhaps a word to describe London's Fashion Week is experimental.
Exactly. Well, right now it's time for us to do something rather challenging. It's time for the SC Challenge. Hey everyone, welcome to the SC Challenge. Are you ready for a challenge? Well, I know I definitely am. And I know two other people who are ready. Let's meet them now.
Hey everyone, I'm Pauline, always up for the challenge of beating my husband at a game.
Hello everyone, this is Josh, and I love this program because I get to answer my favorite question, do I get to win again this time?
Well, I like the competitive spirit between Josh and Pauline, but we will have to see who's going to win. Are you ready? They are ready. Well, first question, get your bells ready. Here it goes. Which of the following is not one of the big four? A, Milan. B, Paris. C, Chicago. Or D, London. Ooh, I heard that bell, Pauline.
I'm going to go C, Chicago.
C, Chicago. Are you sure?
No, but I'm still going to stick with it.
C, Chicago. That is correct. 1 point for Pauline. Excellent job. Question number 2. In the context of today's lesson, what does the phrase on the heels of mean? A, pestering someone. B, good looking. C, immediately following. Or D, close behind. Yes?
Is it C, immediately following?
C, immediately following? Yes, that is correct. Good job, Josh. Oh no, Pauline has 1 point and Josh has 1 point. Let's see who's going to break the tie. Last question. What is unique about New York Fashion Week? A, the weather is nice. B, fashion school students can participate. C, NYFW is more popular than the others. Or D, many famous models walk the walk. Yes, Pauline?
I'm going to say this B, students can participate.
And that is your final answer?
It is.
Well, that is correct. B, fashion school students can participate. Well, today's winner is Pauline with 2 points. Great job. And thank you all so much for participating. I know that you were able to answer the questions correctly. Well, we will see you all next time for the SC Challenge. Hey everyone. Well, today we have talked about New York and London. But remember, there are 4 major locations that are considered these fashion giants when talking about Fashion Week. We have 2 more cities to talk about next time, so you better come back and join us right here on Studio Classroom.